Handler method arguments are implicit models. You already have seen example of empty model object gets created by the framework and pass it to you as an argument, and that's where you can add your attribute, model attribute, and that can be accessed in the view, right? So that's basically what we are going to talk about in this segment of the presentation. So Spring MVC creates an empty model object and passes it to a handler method as an argument. All you have to do is basically specify it as an argument. So when you specify, in this case, model map object, basically empty model map object gets created by the framework and it will be given to you as an argument. Okay. Then the model object, once you add attributes to the model object in the form of key value pair, that's basically what we did, right? Basically we add message 1, this is a key, and this is the value. The value could be Java object. In this case, it's a string object, but it could be just Java object. Then model object is then exposed to a view. So this model object, which contains model attributes, those are basically the bridge between your controller and the view. So view should be able to access this model attribute using this expression language syntax, $. That's basically what we saw here, $. Notation here. So we are accessing model attribute called the message 1. Okay. So if you do in fact create another attribute, so let me actually add another attribute here. So let's actually, I was actually playing around. Yeah, so I can add here, and let's say message 2, and I'm gonna just use my name, Sang Shin, or something like that, and then I should be able to access message 2 here. So I can say, okay, so all the model attributes are readily accessible in the page. Okay, all right, so let's save the change, and then let's go to run the application. And so this JSP, my page 1, JSP now should display message 1 and message 2, the attribute. Okay, so let's actually go to here, and that was hello world, right? So you can see jpassion2.com and my name is being displayed. Right? All right. So that's what I mean by here. So the model object gets created for you, and your role is to add attributes in the form of key value pairs, and those key value pairs are now accessible in your view, whether that is a JSP page or a timeleaf page, it really doesn't matter, and they should be able to access it using this expression language syntax. Okay, there are in fact 3 different model objects that you could use. The first one is map. This is a Java util map. This is the most generic type. Okay, the one we have seen is the model map class that is from Spring Framework, and you can also use what is called the model object as well. So you can use any of these. So map is the most generic type. And here you could actually use model object or model map object. Model map object is probably the most sophisticated because it supports what is called a chaining of adding attributes. So we're going to see example of these things in the following example. So this is an example of using model. Okay, so here again, this is a controller method, and this controller method has its own request mapping that contains the value. So this will be concatenated to class level request mapping. It handles HTTP GET, right? Okay, and again, in order to use this model object, all you have to do is just specify it as an argument, and then Spring Framework will create empty model object in this case. And then if you want to use model object, in this case you're going to use model add attribute. Okay, so we can actually modify this code here. So here, instead of actually using model map, I could use model, and I'll just use model here, and we have to import the class. Okay, and then I'm going to use model like this, and it should work exactly the same. Okay, model, and so instead of model map, you could just use a model, right? The same deal. And then you should be able to access that attribute. So in this case, here we have created attribute, model attribute called the hotel list. In fact, this is the list of hotels. So we perform some find hotels method in the service object. We get a list of hotels, and here this is an example where we have the key value is a string, but the value, the key is actually the string type, but the value of key value pair is in this case a collection of hotel object. Okay, now in order to access this list of hotels, basically you can access hotel list object, and then if you say $, this is representation of collection, and we could use for each tag to get each item of that hotel list will be set to a hotel variable, and then we can access name and address and the city, state, and country and all that stuff for the hotel variable. Okay, so this is nothing really Spring unique, Spring MVC unique things. This is pretty much what we do in other frameworks as well. Okay, so in this case, hotel list is the key of the model attribute, and the value happens to be a collection of a list of hotel object. Okay, so I think there was a question from Sebastian. That was exactly, I think, what I answered. Java objects passed to model map must be serializable. Yes, yeah. So I think let's see. That is a good question. Is Java object passed to model map object is serializable? I don't think that is the case. So we'll do an experimentation. That's a good question. So let's do an experimentation. Okay, moving forward. Okay, so this is model map. Again, we have seen an example of model map here. Again, all you have to do is just receive your model object as a model map type, and again, you can actually call add attribute. So this is the chaining I was talking about. So you can call add attribute method, and then you call add attribute method again. Okay. So basically, this add attribute will actually return model map object again, and you keep just adding attribute like this. So this is a bit more convenient, but but not a big deal, but a bit more convenient. So that is the chaining I was talking about. Okay, now we're gonna do exercise 2 and 3. So we're gonna actually exercise all the concept that we have learned in this part of the in this segment of the presentation. So let's take a look at the exercise 2. Exercise 2, we are going to modify. So we are going to add few more handlers. So I'm going to just use this lab documentation so that you guys can actually do the lab yourself. So here we have created another method called hello world. This is actually method overloading, so this is fine, right? Because it's actually receiving model map and this is receiving map, so they are considered two different methods, so that's fine. Okay, and so this is the case that we are receiving map object. So this is java.util map object, and same thing with the here. Okay, and we are adding message 2 attribute. The value is a string, and then return message 2, and we created another method. In this case, the value is supposed to be say string MVC, and then we created logical view of my page 2 and my page 3. Okay, after assigning the model attribute. So we obviously need to create my page 2.jsp page, my page 3.jsp page. Okay, so you can just copy existing my page 1.jsp page, and then all you have to do is just changing to reflect message 2. And same thing for message the 3 in my page 3.jsp page. Okay. All right. So once you have created those two, you should see these two JSP pages are now added on the views. Okay. And then you're gonna restart the application. So make sure you stop it. or stop it here. Either one is fine. Then you run the application. Now you should be able to specify slash say spring, and then it should display spring. And if you say spring MVC, then it should spring MVC should be displayed. So for your own exercise, I want you to add another handler method that says say spring data request, and obviously you need to create another page if you want to, or you can use the existing page if you want to. Okay. All right. So that's exercise 2. Exercise 3, we are gonna build new application called Hello World 2. So let's actually do this one. So I want to actually demonstrate this guy again. So here we're gonna create a new and Spring Starter project, and we're gonna say Hello World 2, and I'm gonna just use the again same group JPassion .mvc, and artifact I want to use the same name here, even though I don't have to. And again, I want to use the same package as the group, and this one doesn't really have to be changed. So I go next, and again I select web, and then I say finish. Okay, so I created a new application called Hello World 2. And then what we want to do is again we need to add these 2 dependencies, indicating that we are going to use JSP as a template technology. So we are going to add this to pom.xml file. So here you go, and here pom.xml file, and just add to a dependency here. Okay. And then write a controller. So we're gonna actually now write a controller. So we are gonna create the so here we are gonna create the controller code. Okay, so right click, new class, and again, typically I want to have controllers in its own subdirectory, so I'm gonna say controllers, and name of the controller, in this case home controller. Alright, so it really doesn't matter how you name it, but here I'm gonna just follow the lab documentation, home controller, and finish. So now we have home controller, and now we're gonna actually add this code. Okay, so again, this is a controller. This controller does not have its own request mapping, so it actually has a method that handles the incoming URL, root URL. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy this code. Okay, and okay, so basically what it does is we are going to receive a model type object, and then we create a brand new data object, and we create a format, and then we created a formatted data, and the attribute, the key value, is going to be server time, and formatted data, that's a string object, and then we are returning what is called the logical view name called the home. So we certainly need to have home.jsp page. Okay, and set the directory for views. So, yeah, again we have to specify where this JSP page is going to be located. So we are going to again copy this code. We're going to talk about these things in detail sometime today, but for now this is a way that you can specify the location of your views. Okay, so here I'm going to hello to application, and I just add this code and import the classes. And again we have to create a home.jsp page. So here let's go to src main. Oops. You know what? This is where so here when you created the brand new project, I forgot one thing. So for example, let's actually show you what I mean by that. So here I said new the Spring Starter project. One thing I forgot was, in fact, setting this package to war. Okay, so because I forgot this, the setting this war file, it really didn't actually create the files for me. It actually missed the couple of files. First of all, it thinks that I'm creating Java SE application. So it didn't create, if you take a look at the MVC hello world, it didn't create this file, servlet initializer file. So I can just copy this guy. So I'm going to copy this one right here. And I'm going to change pom.xml file. So I'm going to change pom.xml file to, instead of war, it's going to be, instead of jar, it's going to be war file. Okay. All right. So this one, oh, so it's not main application. So it should be hello world 2 application. Hello. Yeah. So this is the one. Yeah. Okay, so now actually, I have a servlet initializer Java. The role of this code is basically to make this one as a web application. Okay, and we have a home controller here. Okay, all right. So now we have to create the home.jsp page. Another thing that didn't do for us is basically creating web app directory. So here I have to actually create. Oh, so it does create a web app now. Oh, that's exactly MVC. Homework, right? The hello world. So this is the one. If you take a look at here, it doesn't create a web app directory for us, right? So we need to create that. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new file. Okay, so it's gonna be src main web app, and then web inf and views. Okay. And give the name, and the name is home.jsp page. Okay, so now we have home.jsp page, and home.jsp page here we're gonna just display server time attribute. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy this guy and here and save all the changes. Okay, and then we're gonna actually run the application, and then we actually should see this guy. All right. So let's actually see whether that works. So stop the existing server, and now why is actually having question? Yeah, so it doesn't like one thing. I don't know why it's actually having this the red tag, but let's see whether that anyway it works or not. And the main, oh, where is the? It doesn't actually find the main method. That's interesting. So this is the one that contains a main method. Oh, I think another thing I have to do is I have to actually set this guy is probably web application like project face set. I have to actually set this guy as web application. Yeah, if it doesn't work, then yeah, so dynamic module, I'm gonna just set this guy. It requires 6, so yeah, so it should be actually 6.1.6 and newer. I don't know why it doesn't like that. So the Java project, if it doesn't like the then I'll actually recreate it. I don't want to spend too much time of it. Yeah, it's actually using 1.8, so I don't know why it doesn't like that. Why it doesn't like main? So let me see if I can actually run this guy, run as, and Java application. Okay, that works. Okay, so it seems like it's working. Yeah, so I have to just select that guy and run it. Okay. All right, so now let's see whether I can access it. So I'm gonna go to localhost 8080 because it's actually the running the root. Yeah, so it's actually displaying the current time, so it works fine, right? Okay. So that is that. Now 3.4, I want you to modify the controller and add a view. So here we are gonna use model map. Oh, so we're gonna add a brand new method. Okay, and this time the value is gonna be say kitchen, and again this is HTTP get, and is receiving model map object, and we can add these two attributes, so color and size, and then we are returning kitchen. So I'm gonna just copy this code. In general, I want you guys to actually kind of type the code yourself, okay? But for the sake of this demo, I'm gonna just copy this code, okay? So here, let's see, and then import, okay? Yeah, I don't care about the logger, so I'm gonna just delete this guy. Yeah, so so I should actually remove this guy because I used to have a code in the logger. I don't have it, so don't just delete this line, okay? And then we have to add kitchen.jsp page. So that is the kitchen.jsp page because we are returning kitchen. So here in the view, new file, and it's going to be kitchen.jsp. And basically we are just displaying color attribute and size attribute, right? Okay, so here I'm going to copy this code and save them all, okay? And again, we are going to stop the server, and now let's see if you are refresh the page. Oh, did I run it? Yeah, again, I'm gonna actually right click and run as and Java application. Okay, so it started fine, and then I'm going to refresh the page. Now it should actually display oh yeah, actually the link, the controller is, oh, it says say kitchen. I have to say kitchen, say kitchen. Okay, so color of my kitchen is blue, the size of it is 1000 square feet, so that worked fine, as you see here. And here you can actually exercise chaining of chaining attribute, add attribute method of the model map object. So here, instead of actually doing this, I'm gonna actually use chaining. So I use a model map object, and then I call add attribute and then add attribute. Okay, so when you do this, and then when you refresh the browser or rerun the application, it should work as expected. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys about the 15 minutes to do these exercises. Okay, all right.